Hello, my Bill 5000 Nation. How's everyone doing today? Hopefully, everyone's having a great day. If not, I hope it gets better from here. We are back with another That chapter. This one is titled Stuffing Your Mother in a Suitcase for Inheritance. That's just weird. I think there's a better way to get your inheritance than that. Maybe just wait. All right. And yes, thank you everyone that wished me a quick recovery. Like, I feel much better today than I have in a while. Still there. Like, it's still there. But now it's to the point where I have like 3 to 4, like, I'm doing pretty good days. And then it hits me right back in the balls again. I don't understand it. But it's like day 10. A lot of things are 10 times better, but like today is like day 3. I'm feeling halfway decent, and I'm already starting to get to the point where it's like, oh. But yeah, I have like 3 or 4 days, and then I just basically want to crash and just sleep. And the body aches are still there. Headache comes and goes. Everything else is just kind of coming and go-y. But I can say I do feel better, and I can say thank you to everyone that wished me well. Like, thank you. Thank you all. A lot of you are saying that you guys were sick too. Like, it's something. It's something. It's a real thing, bro. All right. I'm excited to get into today's story. Hopefully, I do better this week than I did last week. Fingers crossed. And toes. Cross them toes too. All right, let's go ahead and get into today's story. Go ahead, turn them lights down low, put on something comfy, couple something special. Let's get disturbed, because that just sounds disturbing.
Hey you, and welcome. My name is Mike, and in this old video we're going on holiday. Vacay, baby.
Hells yeah.
The island of Bali, Indonesia, deep in the South Asian archipelago. Stunning, beautiful, you got your mountains, your beaches, your reefs. Very pretty, you know, much like the people in this old video. Though I'm not sure the people thought their time in Bali would end the way it did. With some of them not thinking at all.
Oh shit.
Let's give it a go.
Let's give it a go. Sheila Von Weise-Mack?
This story, it's weird. Bit odd. So where to begin? Why not with the lady in the title of the video? It's usually a pretty decent place to start. See, before we get to Bali, we gotta go to...
But, I mean, if you want to, we can go back to, like, her mother and father. Like, we can do the how I met your mother father situation here, dude. You know, you feel me? It could be a really long video though.
Chicago, Illinois, home of Sheila Von Weise-Mack. Who, with a name like that, sounds like ancient European the Habsburg dynasty or something. But she was just a regular old gal. Sheila was born in 1952 in Minneapolis and grew up in Grosse Pointe, Michigan. Home of the late Bob Bashara, RIP. She studied political science in Boston, she got an MBA in St. Louis, and would work for a publishing house, Doubleday, home of, I'm sure, some of your favorite authors. From there, she would work at universities, collecting degrees and diplomas, you know, sure, why not? And having a pretty sweet job like that, she lived in the affluent Oak Park, outside Chicago, and she lived there with her husband and daughter. And the Von Weise-Macks were socialites, about sound. Sheila was married to James Mack, a well-known jazz composer. This was his third marriage. In 1996, at age 43, Sheila gave birth to her daughter, Heather Mack. The Macks were a very close family, especially daughter Heather to her dad, James. They absolutely just adored each other. As wealthy folk, the world was their oyster, and one thing James loved to share with his daughter was well, the world. They'd often travel far and wide, exotic locations, fancy hotels. This is the life. Until tragedy struck.
Hell no. Shit. Too sweet.
In 2006, when Heather was just 10 years old, the family, while on holiday in Athens, Greece,
were beautiful.
Well, James, he had a pulmonary embolism. He died at age 76.
But, I mean, could he have picked a, more beautiful place to die? I mean, seriously? See, when I die, I'm just going to be in Ohio. Like, that was beautiful. Shit.
Passing away in the hotel room beside Heather and Sheila.
Never mind. That kind of sucks. If I was going to die in Rome, I'd want to die, like, not in the hotel room. I want to die in, like, the one of the Colosseum. I want it to be epic. When I go, I want there to be fireworks and explosions.
That was hard. And so then it would be just Heather and Sheila. James had made sure, his family would be taken care of. He had a trust fund set up for Heather. She'd be a millionaire by the time she was 21. But Heather didn't really care. The loss of her dad destroyed the young girl. She never really got over it. As she grew into her teenage years, it just kept eating away at her. And it led to trouble. She spiraled into depression, lashed into parties, drugs, alcohol, all that. Started hanging out with the... well, not the right crowd.
The bad kids.
Heather stopped getting on well with her mother. In fact, it went the opposite of being well. She would run away from time to time. And it was at one of these many, many parties that young Heather would meet a guy named Tommy. Tommy Schaefer.
Tommy Schaefer.
Y'all, this Schaefer, man. It's my first song, the demo. Hope y'all enjoy this. Check it out.
He was quite the guy. But when he wasn't Tommy Schaefer, he was Tommy XX. You better watch yourself. Check out his tunes.
Master Chief?
Just so you know, I've replaced the music with another one of Tommy's tracks. That's because the music on this video is, it's copywritten. Don't worry, you're not missing out. He was from Chicago, came from a much less well-off background than Heather did. However, his mother gave him everything, even sending him to a great school in the affluent Oak Park. He decided, come on, education, smeducation, right? He's going to be a hip-hop artiste. Right? So, listen up.
So it's good to have something to fall back on, though.
Chicago, baby. I kind of really...
You wouldn't believe, like, how many artists and singers and drummers and guitarists actually have, like, some degree. Like, it's like... I look up weird shit when I'm sick, okay? And I've been sick a lot here lately.
Realized that I had an ear for music, and I like making music. Well, I like listening to it just as much as I like making it. And there's a certain feel that you get from making music. It's like a lot of people, well, everyone listens to it, everyone hears it, but it's really about how music makes you feel, which brings out, the best music and the most memorable music that stays around for a long time. So I try to recreate the music.
His self-funded artistic endeavors, surprisingly, didn't pay the bills. He would sleep on friends' couches and so on and so forth, eventually meeting Heather, a Heather
it's called
still
starving
grieving her
artist.
musician father's death.
That's what happens.
So while Heather and Tommy, they were, kicking off, so were Heather and Sheila, but like in the opposite way. They'd fight a lot. Sheila not too keen on the old party, and she'd much rather Heather would join her at one of these violin recitals.
He gave his debut at the Berlin Philharmonic with the Berlin Symphony at the age of 12, and he was a featured soloist at age 13 in Polka Violin Concerto No. 2. He won first prizes at the International Violin Competition in 1993, the Hans Eisler Competition in Berlin in 1995, among other awards. He's attended Juilliard, and he received additional postgraduate education in North string.
So, in 2014, Sheila decided to book a trip for them together, like they used to do with their dad. Go to an exotic location, spend some quality time together. Just the two of them. Or so she thought. On the 4th of August 2014, they boarded a plane bound for Indonesia, spending 10 days at a luxury resort. The St. Regis Bali Resort. Don't think I've ever spent any time at a hotel that has a gate.
No. I don't think I've even been to a gated community.
That taxi driver, he was dropping off some passengers at the famed St. Regis. That as he was getting ready to pull off, a young couple flagged him down. They popped the boot, lashed a suitcase into the trunk of his taxi and said, "Here, we're just checking out. Be right back, you know. Don't go anywhere. Keep the engine running." The taxi driver said fine. He didn't say that after waiting for 30 minutes with no sign of them. So he got out of his taxi, popped the boot, and then had a look at that suitcase they put in there. Because it looked like this. He called the police, and when they arrived and opened it up, there was a woman stuffed inside. It was not a big luggage, so they were economical packers. She had been beaten to death.
And shoved in a fucking suitcase? So the police
investigation began. They went through everybody who was staying at the hotel, the descriptions.
It's in the title. Why am I surprised?
Who this was. Eventually landing on Sheila.
I was genuinely surprised. I was like, why? It's in the stuffing your mother in the suitcase for inheritance. I mean, that's the main reason why we're watching this video. I need to take a nap. I think I might be more tired than what I was. Mike, you're an amazing storyteller, bud.
And they saw Sheila wasn't staying at the hotel alone. They went up and knocked on her door to no answer. They opened the hotel room and it was in quite the state. Blood everywhere, broken glass, looked like it had been a fruit bowl. The handle of it was bloody, looked like someone smashed it off someone's head. Someone was beaten to death. So they knew who the victim was, but where was Heather? An autopsy found Sheila's cause of death was asphyxiation from a broken nose. She also had a broken neck. Weirdly, you know, as the police started questioning everybody, a desk clerk at the hotel said Sheila actually came down a few hours before the suitcase. She came down to report Heather missing. As they were just about to call the police, who wanders in but Heather? Not alone. She was holding hands with Tommy XXEXXX, if you ask me. This was a surprise to Sheila that Tommy was there. Not a pleasant one at all. Sheila had wanted them to spend time, you know, together, just the two of them. And she wanted to get Heather away from what she saw were like these bad influences back in Chicago. Right there in the lobby, a screaming match began. Heather telling Sheila that Tommy had flown in to surprise her. And that being apart for, you know, the 7 days it was at this point was just too darn much. Now, Tommy had no money, which Sheila knew all too well, and so she accused Heather of stealing her credit card to pay for his ticket. A ticket costing about $10,000.
Good God.
Not only that, Heather used Sheila's card to pay for his room at this very fancy hotel. So after screaming at each other for a bit, they all went back to the rooms. Heather and Sheila went to their room, Tommy went to his. He wouldn't stay there. CCTV would show Tommy leaving his room, going to Sheila and Heather's, and then Tommy and Heather going between them for quite some time. Heather returned a little bit later to the desk clerk and had a question. Little question. You mind? Say, you don't have any duct tape by any chance, do you? Don't ask what it's for. So things were not looking good. Eventually, they came out with the suitcase. They dropped it off at a taxi and then did a legger.
What? Some people are into that
However,
tape shit.
Bingo, in the safe in Sheila's room, they found Heather's passport. So they knew they wouldn't be able to flee the country. They were somewhere in town and alerted the media. They were eventually tracked down to a motel. It didn't take long.
The victim's 19-year-old daughter, Heather Louise-Mack, and her boyfriend, Tommy Schaefer, seen here, have been arrested. Forensic investigators say the victim suffered severe blunt force injuries.
From the existing wound, we found that the victim was hit by a blunt object on her face and head.
A woman is found murdered in the Indonesian resort island of Bali. The Associated Press confirms that she is from Chicago, reportedly with ties to West Suburban Oak Park.
Now, Sheila Von Weise-Mack's 19-year-old daughter, Heather, and her 21-year-old boyfriend, Tommy Schaefer, were arrested Wednesday. Police say the two checked out of the hotel and were trying to flee when they were taken into custody.
No cameras. Why is the media here?
The young couple was
a murderer.
Wednesday at a...
Oh, don't be sad. It's fine. Those cameras are going to be in your face the rest of your life. You're a murderer. You lost any right to anything because you're a piece of shit. Oh, I'm going to kill my mommy. Put her in a suitcase. Why is there cameras in my... Because you stupid. They're trying to take pictures and capture the moment on how stupid you are. Dumbass.
Nearby budget hotel after a day-long police chase.
And you, the bitch ass staying in a budget hotel. Heh. Jail probably still be
They
better.
said when the police came in, hey, thanks, finally. A gang came in and killed Sheila, and they kidnapped us, so thanks for rescuing us. They just escaped with their lives. Apparently, not knowing CCTV was all over the hotel. Literally like the worst excuse ever. They were arrested on the 13th.
Oh, thank you so much. We have been kidnapped and been held here. Where's the kidnappers now? They heard you coming. Where was the kidnappers when they brought you in? They just brought us in. You're stupid. You do realize this resort has cameras all through it. It's a tourist destination. Like, it's insurance purposes mainly, but sometimes people just be stupid, bro.
Of August, and they kept up with this terrible story. They said all three of them had been kidnapped by some street gang, and only they had escaped, and they were on the run, not from the police, but from the gang. So I guess, they must have gone back to the hotel room and killed Sheila. Or something. Is she dead? Then Tommy tried a different tack, okay? Now, what he said was this. It was a surprise. He had shown up as a surprise. The surprise was for Sheila, because Heather and Tommy had good news for her. Heather was pregnant. Sheila wasn't as happy as they thought she'd be, and, according to Tommy, she went crazy mad and said she'd kill the baby. This led to a scuffle, and one thing led to another. Tommy said she was choking him out on the floor when he grabbed a fruit bowl and bounced it off her head repeatedly. That was one story. Another good one was what the phone
Straight
records
gangsta.
told. See, the FBI became involved in the case. It's
That's how he's going to get his rap name, bruh. From here on out, he's going to be called Lady Punchbowl Face.
3 Americans in a foreign country, one of them dead, 2 of them arrested. They started, looking into it from their side. They learned that Heather and Tommy were obviously mad about each other. Sheila, not so much. She took Heather's phone even from her, so Heather had to get a secret phone to communicate with him. They wanted to be alone, like alone together. Heather had millions in the bank account, but she couldn't get it until she turned 21. She was currently 19. So, they didn't want to wait those 2 years though, so... How else could they get it? The stupidest idea possible.
Yeah.
Tommy was also in contact with a cousin of his named Robert Bibbs, who was advising Tommy on how to do it. How to get that inheritance. The reward was a piece of the inheritance pie. That Robert Bibbs, he would get 9 years for his texts to Tommy advising him on how to do it. So it took them a bit of time to figure it out, calling each other Bonnie and Clyde. The Bali trip they thought would be perfect, and they would make it look like an accident. They'd, make her trip and fall at some point. Multiple times. Here's a picture of Tommy leaving his room, going down to Heather and Sheila's room with the fruit bowl under his t-shirt. So he went down to their room, hid in the bathroom, and at one point jumped out and... well, began beating Sheila to death with it. Tommy seemingly had a fair idea of what was going to happen when he posted on Facebook, leaving for Indonesia, might not come back. They were both charged with murder, and in Indonesia, if you get charged with murder, you can face a firing squad. They don't really muck about over there. They both still stuck with the self-defense idea that Sheila attacked him. They hadn't planned on killing anyone.
That made me feel better than I have in days.
People a bit more about her and her mother's relationship. She told how her mother drank constantly, would abuse and shout at her, scratched her, put out cigarettes on her. Though, of course, there are two sides to every story. This is the other one. Neighbors said they fought all the time. They would call the police on each other regularly. It was abusive from both sides, and Sheila's arm had been broken once in a fight. Sheila wrote in an email to a friend, "I think that there has to be something done with Heather because it is not possible for me to continue living like this. All of her lies, stealing, and not knowing where she goes each and every day. This has been 4 years now, and I simply cannot do it any longer. Heather was violent tonight and left. When you live the way I've lived with Heather for so many years, the problems become almost your normal way of life. I am really scared of what she may do next. I am more frightened than ever. I will keep in touch."
Damn.
That email was sent while they were in Bali. So I actually don't know how their holiday went until, well, you know, shite probably. Anyway, they were both saying they were being abused by the other, and in a 6-month period up until August 2014, the police were called over 60 times to their place.
That's fucking ridiculous.
The prison Heather is in seems, well, I'd personally rather not be there, but Heather has a phone and access to the internet, and seems to be having a grand old time. She was happy to yap away in interviews, and so on and so forth.
What's that phrase where it's like, I won't do it again, like, like, it's like, holiday, mom. Like something like that.
Heather would give birth in prison to a girl named Stella before the trial. A trial where their fates would be decided by a panel of judges. They were convicted. Which, as I said, could lead to blindfold cigarette bang.
Hell yeah. Does it? Did it?
Their fates wouldn't actually be decided until 2018, if you can believe that. Heather using that time to become a celebrity.
You got a horrible picture of me last time. I'm mad at you, Daniel. Horrible. I was like...
No, it's yawning. You are.
So why publish it? It even says on there, photography, Daniel, whatever. You want to see, right? No, it wasn't you. You're fine.
Daniel. Oh,
Daniel. Worst picture, Stella's picture of Stella. She's like, horrible picture, Daniel.
Her baby could remain with her in prison until she turned 2. Then she'd be given to a guardian.
Really?
In 2017, Heather posted...
So for the first 2 years of this baby's life, it's going to be in prison? I mean, I don't know much about, you know, raising children. I have 3, but I mean, I'm not an expert. I only have 3. They're still alive, so I must be doing something right? But I don't know if you would want to raise your child for the first 2 years of its life in a prison. That seems like that could be setting that poor baby up for failure. Or getting it used to its inevitable future. One or the other. Either way, it's fucked up.
This video on YouTube. Well, it's not actually entirely sure if Heather posted it or someone using her name for the channel posted it. Either way, it got uploaded, and it's Heather. A full confession.
Okay, so this is a video that I need to make. A lot of the times, since I've been a kid, I've heard the truth sets you free, the truth sets you free.
It's lies.
And I never understood, but I'm Heather Mack, and I want to be set free. I don't want to live in a lie anymore. When I was 10, my mother killed my father in a hotel in Athens, Greece.
Also lies.
2 weeks before I came to Bali, I found out that she killed my father. And I made it up in my heart, in my mind, my soul, in my blood, in the oxygen running through my body, that I wanted to kill my mother.
It's proven that her dad died of a pulmonary embolism, so.
First, I asked Tommy.
But did she do it to be like, nah, it was just all just like a stunt publicity? You could really tell from the beginning that it was a lie. So everything I said in that thing was a lie. So, you know, is that what she's going for? Getting the truth out there, but making it look like she's just doing it for publicity? Shifty bitch. I don't trust her. Look at her face. Derpy tard.
Schaefer, to help me find somebody to kill my mom for $50,000. And he said no. After that, I got this whole new savage idea in my head that I wanted to kill her in a hotel room because she had killed my father in a hotel room. We were going to Bali, so I began to plot. I began turning off Tommy's phone, taking Tommy's phone when he was asleep, starting in Chicago, taking Tommy's phone and having conversations between Tommy and myself, texting myself, having fake conversations, and then deleting them before he could see them. I didn't want to get arrested by myself in a different country. So I came to Bali, and I told Tommy that he was going to come here for a vacation. I trapped him here. And that is what I regret. I don't regret killing my mother. I killed her myself. And I'm sorry, Tommy Schaefer. I'm sorry. I love you.
Why are you looking off screen?
Love you, and if I could go back, I would do it myself. And I'm sorry that everyone who ever knew you now thinks you're a murderer when you're not. I'm sorry you won't be able to get a job. I'm sorry everybody thinks that you're some crazy killer. This is the truth.
She takes the blame for everything.
But he is.
That Tommy was innocent. All that. Her lawyer, not a fan of that.
It's not the verdict today, is it?
Yeah, but what sentence are you requesting?
Okay. Less. I'm innocent.
Yeah, I'm innocent. Look at her, she's having a great time. Am I, though? In the end, Tommy was sentenced to 18 years in prison. Heather got 10 years. Those are tears of relief, by the way. That's a pretty light sentence for murdering your mama.
Yeah?
Heather and Tommy remain in prison in Indonesia to this day. So that ends that one. Pretty, weird story of agreed. Tommy became a born-again Christian in prison, baptizing quite a few people. Heather, it seemed like she loved the finer things in life. Hell, that was why she killed her mother, and she ended up with a grand total of nothing. Though she still does get quite a bit of attention. A very light sentence to only 10 years for doing what she did. The judge would say, you know, a child should grow up without a mother, so that's why that. And She wouldn't get a dime from her mother's estate. That would be settled. The money would go to her daughter, Stella. So at least that's something. I mean, you got to give Heather some credit. She's definitely making the most of a pretty gnarly situation.
What kind of fucking person is this? She gets your cardio in, get on TV, get to keep your kids.
Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you so much for having me, Mike, as always. Alright. That's a horrible face, but, you know. There. I did it with you. Now we both look like asses. Alright. What kind of prisons do Bali have, bro? Like, they was jazzercising out in that shit. Homie, what? You made a video confessing to the murder of your mama, and you still got less time than the other dude, who I'm pretty sure was the dude that murdered your mama. Like, I get the rage that's behind you, but like, she got beat to death. I don't know. I have a feeling he did it. Like, it might have all been like all your idea, but he was your weapon. And a punch bowl was his weapon. Fucking get beat down by a bowl of fruit. That'd be horrible. And how you gonna get 10 years? Gonna get to raise your daughter until she's 2 years old. You're only going to get 10 years, and all the money that you should have got's going to your daughter. So basically, you get to raise your kid for the first 2 years of its life. Then when it hits its terrible twos, it's going to be taken from you, given to someone else. They're going to raise it until it's around 10 or 11 years old. And then you're going to get back out when it's walking, talking, in school, and you ain't got to deal with it, but you got a shit ton of money. Oh yeah, she's being really punished, let me tell you. Well, her prison life must be horrible. It's in fucking Bali. You get to do jazzercise. There was more smiles there than at my last birthday party. All right. Fuck. I really enjoyed today's video. If you all enjoyed today's video as much as I did, please go down there, leave a thumbs up. It really helps the channel grow. While you're down there, if you want, go on over, slap that subscribe button, become part of the B5 Nation. We do some crazy stuff here. And if you want to know when that crazy stuff happens, ding the bell and turn on all post notifications. As always, be good to one another. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Damn, Mike. I'm glad I felt better today. Because that deserter, what the fuck is going on? You know what I mean? And the way I felt yesterday, I wouldn't have been able to do it.